76 large fires are burning across 16 states, with over 7.6 million acres gone this year alone. That is 171% of the 10-year average for acres burned, a record-breaking pace. In Utah, a wildfire shut down the I-15 in both directions, smoke so thick drivers could not see the road. In Washington state, the National Weather Service just issued a particularly dangerous situation red flag warning. And here is something genuinely historic. For the first time ever, Australia and New Zealand sent engine crews to fight American fires. 52 firefighters from Down Under are right now working American fire lines alongside U.S. crews. This is a big-time, action-packed fire weather situation, so let's get right into it. All right, let's start in the south and work our way north and west through this fire and weather picture. Down in Florida, the Movie Dome fire is burning inside Everglades National Park, 21 miles west of Homestead. 987 acres, 30% contained, with wind-driven runs pushing fire through grass and brush. Over in Georgia, the main trail fire is burning 12 miles southeast of Savannah at 475 acres. Mississippi has the Jackson Highway 90 fire near Moss Point. About 1,400 acres, 70% contained. Here is your quirky detail of the day. That Mississippi fire has been there so long there is genuinely no new information. Has been creeping and smoldering so quietly in southern rough that crews are essentially just monitoring it. Let's talk Texas, because Texas A&M Forest Service issued a significant fire weather alert this evening. High initial attack potential through the weekend across the rolling plains, cross timbers, and North Texas. East Texas is also in that high-risk zone with critically dry surface fuels and unstable afternoon air. The National Interagency Fire Center confirms wind gusts of 15 to 25 miles per hour are expected across Texas. The Hill Country, South Texas, and the lower Gulf Coast are at moderate initial attack potential this weekend. Texas A&M Forest Service personnel are on standby statewide right now and ready to respond. Oklahoma had a dramatic evening. A large grass fire erupted near Binger in Blaine and Grady counties. Fire was pushing hard through dry grass northwest of Highway 152 and Water Tower Road. Blaine County Task Force, Grady County Task Force, and Minco Fire Department all rolled out at 4:41 p.m. For a while, there was confusion. Reports came in at 5 p.m. that Lukiba was being evacuated. Then at 6:17, the fire page posted a full retraction. Lukiba was never evacuated. That was wrong. Good news at 8:11 p.m., fire contained, most departments released. Outstanding work by local crews. Now let's head to New Mexico, where the Frijoles fire is burning in the Santa Fe National Forest. 15,186 acres, only 38% contained, in steep terrain near the Pecos Wilderness. It is just 3 miles east of Condillo, threatening numerous residences and communication infrastructure. California Interagency Team 8 is managing it. Evacuations and area closures are still in effect. Some precipitation moved through the fire area yesterday. A small assist from lingering monsoon moisture. Now let's jump to Utah, because this is where things got scary today along one of the nation's busiest interstates. A wildfire exploded near Garland and Tremonton in Box Elder County, northern Utah, and it spread fast. Hundreds of acres burned in hours. Homes threatened, critical infrastructure threatened, power cut to part of the area. Smoke and flames pushed straight into the I-15, forcing a closure in both directions, northbound and southbound. The I-15 is one of the main arteries connecting Salt Lake City to the Pacific Northwest. Both directions shut down. The interstate has since reopened, but this fire remains at 0% containment as of tonight. Strong winds are continuing to drive it. Evacuations remain active. Crews are fighting hard right now. This is exactly what we call a wildland-urban interface fire, and it is still a live, dangerous situation. In the Great Basin, the Shoshone Fire in Nevada is burning 58 miles northeast of Fallon. 17,226 acres, 36% contained. Active running, flanking, and backing. Up in Idaho, the brand-new Crooked Fire ignited 15 miles east of Idaho City today. Active uphill runs and torching. 250 acres, 0% contained, reported to NIFC for the first time this morning. The Black Canyon Fire in Utah is burning 29 miles southwest of Price. 3,264 acres, 61% contained. Let's head up to the northern Rockies. Preparedness level 3 here, but new fires are lighting up. The new Deer Creek fire in Montana came in today, 18 miles west of Marion, heavy slash and timber. Active behavior with short crown runs and wind-driven runs, per the NIFC situation report. 345 acres, 0% contained. The windmill fire is burning 9 miles north of Reed Point, 3,000 acres with wind-driven runs and short crown runs. Sand Creek near Wisdom, Montana, 31,757 acres and only 7% contained. Numerous structures and communication towers are threatened there. Evacuations are in effect right now. All right, here is where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about the heart of this crisis, the Pacific Northwest. The Northwest is sitting at preparedness level 5. That is the highest level that exists, y'all. 32 large fires burning in Oregon and Washington, with 6 individual fires already over 100,000 acres. Let's start with some real good news. The Grasshopper fire near Mount Hood is now at 71% contained. 92,456 acres in Mount Hood National Forest, and containment is holding on most flanks. Oregon State Fire Marshal structural resources are returning to their home agencies today, a significant milestone. Those 52 Australian and New Zealand engine crews are still on that fire, working side by side with U.S. firefighters. The Big Grass Fire in Oregon is enormous. 578,639 acres, 85% contained. That is more than 900 square miles that burned across Malheur County, Oregon, and Owehee County, Idaho. Roe Creek Complex near Fossil, Oregon, 373,981 acres, 89% contained. But not everything is improving. The Sinlahekin fire in Washington is at just 47% contained. 154,298 acres, threatening hundreds of structures and critical infrastructure. Wright Spring near Sprague River, Oregon, 54,000 acres, 55% contained, changing command today. The Hagen fire near Pendleton, 58,000 acres, is only 19% contained, still very dangerous. Active flanking, backing, and isolated torching, evacuations still in effect, numerous residences threatened right now. And then there is the Little Giant fire. This one is the one keeping incident commanders up at night. 138,475 acres, 30 miles northwest of Leavenworth, Washington, only 12% contained. Active flanking, group torching, spotting, numerous structures and critical infrastructure threatened, evacuations in effect. This fire has over 1,800 personnel assigned, including 240 U.S. Army soldiers. That is 1st Battalion, 23rd Infantry, 7th Infantry Division, deployed from Joint Base Lewis McChord. 5 MFFs, C-130 air tankers are deployed, 3 in Klamath Falls, Oregon, 2 in Redding, California. The brand new CC fire was just reported today, 10 miles northwest of Sinlahekin, Washington, 126 acres, 0%. Also in Washington, the 3 Queens fire, 6 miles east of Snoqualmie Pass, 3,849 acres, 2% contained. That fire has active backing, flanking, and torching. Numerous structures are threatened, evacuations in effect. Let me give you the year-to-date scoreboard because the numbers are genuinely staggering and need to be heard. 50,077 wildfires in 2026, burning 7.642 million acres nationwide. Confirmed by NIFC today. That is 129% of the 10-year fire average and 171% of the 10-year acre average. For comparison, through the same date in 2025, 4.0 million acres. This year, 7.6, nearly double. The worst year for acres burned to this date in the past decade by a very wide margin. That is where we stand. All right, y'all, let's talk about what is coming over the next 48 hours, because this is the critical window. High pressure has been amplifying over the western U.S. all week, baking everything in the region. The National Interagency Fire Center confirms inland, Pacific Northwest temperatures are running 10 to 15 degrees above normal today. NIFC's forecast discussion says highs in the 90s to lower 100s are expected across the western half of the country. Southeast California and western Arizona could reach the lower 110s, directly from the NIFC weather discussion. Relative humidity in the single digits to the teens in the afternoon, with only poor overnight recoveries expected. The Great Basin and southeast Oregon will see gusty afternoon winds. NIFC specifically calls those out as a concern today. In the southern plains and southeast, temperatures peak in the 90s to 110 degrees this weekend. Humidity dropping into the mid-teens to mid-20s. NIFC confirms that range directly for the southern plains area. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about the weekend fire weather threat for Washington state. The National Weather Service office in Spokane has issued a fire weather watch for eastern Washington Saturday. NWS Spokane meteorologist Miranda Coate confirmed winds of 15 to 25 miles per hour Saturday afternoon. Gusts from 25 to 40 miles per hour are possible, covering Grant, Adams, Douglas, Lincoln, and Spokane counties. But here is the escalating concern. The Washington Smoke blog, run by NWS, WA Ecology, and WA-DNR, confirms something more. A PDS Red Flag Warning, particularly dangerous situation, is in effect Saturday afternoon and evening. PDS is the highest tier of Red Flag Warning. NWS only issues it when conditions are truly extreme and life-threatening. The WA Smoke blog, published by state and federal atmospheric scientists, calls this a critical fire weather setup. Let me explain the key meteorological mechanism here. A dry cold front is sweeping across the Pacific Northwest. Dry lightning, that is when a thunderstorm produces lightning, but the rain evaporates before reaching the ground. You get the ignition source with zero suppression benefit. No rain, just lightning. It is the worst-case fire weather scenario. Thunderstorm coverage is expected to expand across eastern Washington Saturday as this slow-moving low tracks through. The WA Smoke blog confirms storms will be fast-moving, produce very little precipitation, and increase lightning ignition risk. Wind gusts behind the front 25 to 40 miles per hour Saturday, then the Columbia Basin gets hit hardest. Cascade gap winds. That is when pressure differences funnel wind through the mountain passes at accelerated speed. Those gap winds push east into the Columbia Basin and fan whatever fires ignited from Saturday's lightning. Here is the nightmare scenario fire managers are planning for right now. Dry lightning Saturday afternoon and evening. Then strong post-frontal westerly winds arrive Saturday evening and overnight, fanning dozens of new starts simultaneously. Communities in the Methow Valley, Chelan, Enchiat, and the Columbia Basin will see significant smoke impacts by Saturday evening. In the southeast, the main weather concern is the heat ridge that refuses to move off the southern plains. NIFC confirms southern plains temperatures peaking in the 90s to 110 degrees this weekend. Numerous thunderstorms are expected across the southeast. This could produce erratic outflow winds and new fire starts. Outflow boundary, that is when a thunderstorm collapses and pushes cold air outward along the surface like a burst. Wind gusts of 30 to 50 miles per hour in any direction with almost no warning, extremely dangerous for fire spread. Now let's zoom out to day 3 through day 5. And I want to be straightforward with you about the model situation. The NIFC National Fire Potential Outlook confirmed in the IMSR is clear. Above normal fire potential continues. That above normal outlook covers the entire Pacific Northwest Great Basin and portions of the Northern Rockies. Okay. I want to be honest with you here. The extended model runs have not been fully consistent on timing. The GFS is showing the offshore low-pressure system returning early next week, maintaining fire weather potential. What both major models agree on, there is no meaningful cooling or significant moisture relief arriving for the West. No atmospheric river on the extended forecast horizon through at least August 26th. None. Atmospheric river that is a narrow corridor of intense moisture flowing in from the tropical Pacific to the West Coast. When one of those arrives, it delivers months of rain in days and can genuinely knock down a fire season. But there is nothing like that coming. No relief. Fire weather conditions continue at elevated to critical levels. Here are your 3 scenarios for next week, from best to worst case. These are realistic, not dramatized. Best case, the cold front brings limited dry lightning. The post-frontal wind event is brief. Crews hold existing lines. Containment continues improving on Grasshopper, Big Grass, and Roe Creek, and resources begin coming home. Middle scenario. Saturday's dry lightning starts 15 to 25 new fires across eastern Washington and Oregon. Resources already stretched thin nationally at Preparedness Level 5 face a very difficult multi-fire triage week. Worst case, 50-plus new lightning starts, post-frontal winds push existing fires across containment lines. Little Giant or Hagen make significant runs. Communities currently safe may face new mandatory evacuation orders. The 24,000 personnel nationwide are already at maximum deployment. There is minimal surge capacity left. That is exactly why NIFC brought in Australian and New Zealand incident management teams and engine crews. If the outlook stays elevated as we move into a day 5, day 4, day 3 window, daily updates are coming. One more thing worth highlighting, and it is genuinely historic in the world of international wildfire cooperation. 3 incident management teams from Australia and New Zealand, 15 members each, are embedded in the Northwest. And those 52 engine crew members working the Grasshopper and Austin fires, that is a first in U.S. history. After a day of orientation in Boise on the engines they would be using, they went straight onto the fire line. They will be here for approximately 35 days, 2 14-day assignments with transition time between. Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the United States share firefighting resources when any nation needs it most. In Northern California, the MP-18 fire near Hoopa is at 71% contained, 7,500 plus acres. California Team 1 hosts its final community meeting tonight at 6 p.m. at the Hoopa Valley Tribal Office. The timber fire in Los Padres National Forest near Big Sur, 6,055 acres, 29% contained. In Alaska, the Mukluk fire near Tok is at 6,800 acres, 12% contained. Evacuations still active. Minnesota has 3 fires in Superior National Forest, Bear Trap at 30,000 acres, Thumb at 25,000, Sioux at 6,000. Let me close with something that is worth saying clearly, because the numbers can give us a false sense of security. Some fires are genuinely improving. Grasshopper at 71%, Big Grass at 85%, Roe Creek at 89%. Those containment numbers represent weeks of brutal work by thousands of firefighters in extreme heat. Real progress. But Little Giant is at 12%, Hagen at 19%, Utah's new fire at 0%, and a PDS Red Flag is coming Saturday. The NIFC situation report says it clearly. We still have weeks of fire season ahead with no meaningful relief in sight. 24,000 plus men and women are still out there, on the line, in the air, in dispatch centers. Please respect every burn ban and fire restriction in your area. Check your local restrictions before any outdoor activity. If you are in an evacuation zone, leave early. Fire can move faster than you can drive on a congested road. Sign up for emergency alerts at oralert.gov if you are in Oregon. Find your local system and sign up now. We will be watching Saturday very closely. That PDS Red Flag Warning for Washington is the biggest story right now. If significant new fire activity develops from Saturday's lightning and wind event, we will have a full update out immediately. Like and subscribe and turn notifications on so you do not miss any breaking updates this weekend. May the lines keep holding. May those winds stay gentle. May every single one of those firefighters come home safe. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.